Gotta drive out to the social services office. You tell me to go to these services where there's a whole bunch of druggies, and then I'm abused by druggies, and you tell me it's my fault for hanging out with druggies. Uh, 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 like parking lot. Actually, it looks like a park and ride. I got 11% battery, which is good. It's not much. I'm gonna have to walk quite a ways and I'm in a lot of pain. There's the office of Northwest Senior and Disability Service. They're fucking useless as tits on a goddamn boar. Here's the other place. Oregon Department of Human Services. Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife is the first place I went to when I came here. Fuck. Alright, we'll get back to it. I'm an at-risk adult here in Tillamook, and all of the places that I've been sent to as mandated reporters have not fulfilled their obligations as mandated reporters. Instead, Tillamook Family Counseling Center and a lot of other agencies that I've been sent to here are committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud. It shouldn't cost Medicare or Medicaid for a mandated reporter to do their job, and none of them are doing their jobs. I'm being sent to places like Tillamook Family Counseling Center because they're supposedly supposed to help the victims with turning this in, but instead they set me up for therapy. I asked if they're mandated reporters, and they said yes. I've spoken with multiple people. The problem is that I have communication disabilities, and when I'm in a state of crisis, the first thing I forget is names and numbers. I've been repeatedly sent to the police department, who also doesn't fulfill their obligations as mandated reporters, and they keep changing the law. They've changed the law 4 times just between law enforcement between yesterday and the day before. As well as I went down to the courthouse and I recorded live there as well to make sure that, I've been instructed that I need to record. There's a lot of things that I do for my safety because as an at-risk adult, I'm easy to railroad, I'm easy to walk over. I'm also intelligent when I'm not extremely scared, which I am right now. There's an officer named Lotham, and I've been told that I have to go up the chain of command with the police department, but I'm afraid to go in by myself. Lotham has been involved in multiple situations where they didn't investigate. I don't have a place where I can safely sit down and make a police report. They don't call immediately to assist me with that, and as a result, I've had no assistance at all for 6 years I've been on disability. I've had 0 assistance. I'm sent to these agencies that are supposedly supposed to help, but instead of law enforcement and these agencies working together with disabilities and adult protective services, they just send me around in circles to call all these places, knowing that I don't have the ability mentally to even handle this anymore. Yesterday, 2 officers that I was trying to explain what was going on to, I was instructed by the DA's office that I needed to call 911 about the situation. I called 911 and the officers threatened to have me arrested for misusing 911. I am afraid of those officers, in specific Lotham. I've gone to the hospital for mandated reporting last November. I've been to the in disabilities next door. I've been to I spoke with Dr. Danelle Boggs. She's got doctor before her. She is obviously a mandated reporter. I also attempted to turn stuff in to the mandated reporters at the hospital on another occasion. January 28th, there was a lady there from Tillamook Family Counseling Center. She wasn't interested in anything that I had to say. She was only interested in trying to push me to say that I wanted to kill myself so they could put me on suicide watch. When I refused to do that, she got very irate and started yelling at me, and the doctor came in and started pushing me and poking me and yelling at me and telling me to leave, and I did leave. He didn't have to push me or poke me. I am disabled. My injuries are
Can I
permanent.
interrupt for just a moment? What's your name?
Sean David Schwartz.
Hi, Sean. I'm Debbie.
Hi,
Would you
Debbie.
like to talk to one of our family coaches and see if they can offer some type of assistance and our resource to be able to get you to?
I've been sent around in circles for resources
she's
for
right here in
6
the
months.
office.
Yes, ma'am, I'm willing to talk to her, but
Okay. Can we get? Are you on Snap or?
I am. I have to record, and I don't want to give out any of my personal information. So
Anything, but if you
I
would
can write it
enter your
down.
social security number right on this keypad, you don't have to say it out loud.
Hold on, give me 1 second, Sean. Let me get to the.
Yes, ma'am.
Just one moment.
Okay, go ahead and type in your social security number and then.
You got it all backwards. Enter.
Isn't that weird?
You know what else is weird? I was born a lefty, but I'm right-handed now.
Oh.
Sean, can I just have you confirm your date of birth
10/18/1980.
and then your current mailing address?
P.O. Box 701, Tillamook, Oregon.
And Sean, if you want to go ahead and take a seat for just a moment, we'll get some of your business.
Yes, ma'am.
Sean, we got Lexi gonna come out and visit with you, but let's go to a private room, okay?
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
that you want to record and to keep things kind of secure, and we want to respect that.
Thank you, ma'am. A lot of people haven't. All of the mandated reporters that I used to work with the homeless in Colorado and a lot of disabled people there, so I know a lot of the protocols. I don't know every single one here, but I do know the mandated reporter protocols in this state and others. And I'm being lied to by law enforcement and TFCC about what those are.
Come with me. You go ahead and make yourself at home and anyone.
Hi there.
Bonjour.
How you doing today?
I'm not dead yet.
No. Oh,
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry to
that?
Sounds like you've had a long day already, yeah?
I've had a long life.
Oh, Sean, do you want to talk or do you?
Well, more than just talking, I gotta be able to do mandated reporter stuff.
Uh-huh,
I used to work with the homeless in Colorado. I was very
That's cool.
familiar with the mandated reporting stuff there, and I had to make sure that I minded my P's and Q's.
uh-huh,
I don't do that anymore. I now tell victims stories because doing the victims' rights thing that way was almost impossible. And although almost everybody that I was helping was able to get the help they needed,
good.
it was just by the skin of their teeth because there was more than one of us.
It's so hard, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
the system is so challenging sometimes. Are you from Colorado then?
I'm from Scottsbluff, Nebraska, actually.
Okay, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
Sounds like you did some good work in Colorado though.
well, I don't know. That depends on who you ask. I also helped Amendment 64 get passed, and a lot of people are not happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Were you needing something specific today?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I should probably explain my disabilities for you so that you understand how they affect me.
If you'd
And
like
that way
to.
we can communicate to the best of our abilities. I've been through a very long, complicated, and drawn out situation for the last years.
Uh-huh.
And because of that, it's difficult to explain start to finish and how things affect me, especially since a lot of crimes have been committed. I have a lot of evidence in my vehicle. It's a couple blocks away. I left it a couple blocks away because I do have chopped up marijuana packages in my car. When I get those, I know a lot of times they get thrown under the bushes and it makes everybody look bad. So I pick them up and I chop them up and I put them in a bag and I throw them away. But I don't want to get in trouble for bringing marijuana on the property.
Right. Good for you, sir.
I do try to do everything right and legal like, but when mandated reporters don't do their jobs and there's somebody who's at risk like me, who has communication disabilities, I'm easy to railroad and walk over. My best friend was shot in the head in Colorado in 2017 after over a year of me being threatened, harassed, and stalked by her friends and family. They did a lot of drugs and they abused her a lot. And I have the evidence of it. I just don't have the ability to process it. Anything that I can do electronically, it's because people assisted me.
Right.
Because I'm autistic and weird, people don't accept me really anywhere that I go.
You seem extremely intelligent, so.
Right. Well, that's one of the things that my predators prey on, is that they call me mentally ill and deprive me of my intelligence.
Yeah,
I do
Which
have a very
most
high
people
IQ.
with autism are extremely intelligent.
Yes, we are, but also there's the other end of the spectrum, and those people are our brothers and sisters too. They have the same emotions that we
That's
do.
right.
And a
Yeah.
lot of the same issues with communication. Just because somebody's able to talk doesn't mean that somebody's going to listen to them. I'm sorry, I was looking at the gouges on the side.
Yeah,
of that.
it's
I'm
quite
usually side to
scratched
side.
up, isn't it?
It does, but the way that it kind of loops at an angle like that,
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of the writing on the inside of the ring from Lord of the Rings, especially right
I love
here.
it. Yes, yes.
Seeing it from my angle probably makes it a little different. But yeah. So
God, I'm so sorry about your friend.
well, the worst thing is I was not a mandated reporter in Colorado.
Okay.
I was working with not Colorado Coalition of the Homeless, BOHO, which is Boulder Homeless Overflow.
Okay.
And it was because
Wow.
there's only 122 beds at the time for 800 homeless people in the county. And most of those beds were transitional housing, which is single mothers, veterans, or felons.
Okay.
So there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
Now there's 4,800 homeless people in Boulder County.
Wow.
So
Wow.
what I'm dealing with is I've got a lot of evidence in my vehicle that I'm not capable of processing because I don't have a place. And police officers not following their mandated job to work together with you guys and with any services that,
It's a noisy day out here today.
yes, ma'am. And that's one of the things about being in a state of crisis right now. I'm barely able to maintain. If I'm not looking in the eyes, it's
That's
because I'm
okay.
autistic, not because I'm, well, another thing is, a lot of people have assumptions of autism that were played on very heavily.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I know that what we're supposed to do is go to a friend or family first. When we're abused, especially as a homeless and disabled male,
Yeah,
I have to go to a friend or family member, but I don't have any friends or family members. I wouldn't ended up in this situation
okay.
because of my disabilities and my communication disabilities. I'm easy to talk over and easy to railroad. And one example of that is that people have so much disrespect for me that when I went to the courthouse yesterday to try to turn in the fact that mandated reporters were not doing their jobs and that police officers had intimidated me for trying to turn in police officers, they gave me 8 different places to go and at least 4 different phone numbers to
Oh,
call.
God.
And that's the thing, is that each of these agencies is interpreting the law differently.
Here, go over here, go over here, go
Yes,
over here.
and each of these agencies has also sent me to multiple agencies. And literally what they're supposed to do is coordinate with the
Yeah,
Department of Health and Human Services
Yeah,
to turn it in.
right.
None of them have done that, and I have requested it on my YouTube channel. I have over 100 times recorded here in Tillamook alone where I did request that. And they keep
Wow.
telling me they don't have the resources, it's too small of a department. I'm also being sent to the departments that are refusing to do their jobs, and they have actually threatened and harassed me on multiple occasions. One of the tricks that law enforcement uses when you try to turn them in is to call you mentally ill so nobody will listen to you. It's called gaslighting. And I
Yeah.
have evidence that the cops here were running around telling homeless people things that were incorrect to infer things about me that weren't true, like that I was wanted for murder in Colorado. I'm not. My best friend was shot in the head. She was victimized by her father and a lot of other people. Her uncle Troy, her father Ted Bollinger, her
Wow.
mother Rose M. Kelly. Anyway, what ended up happening is I knew Natalie from the outreach.
Okay.
I walked people to the overflow centers. They're called warming centers. And I stayed out at 3 o'clock in the morning and passed out blankets for 7 years. And I went to work
Wow.
every single day to make sure that I was able to take care of myself and get
Yep.
blankets. So,
Amazing work, Sean, amazing work.
well, it
Wow.
was until I screwed up my back. Now,
Oh, did you?
yes, ma'am. I was at the hospital here January 28th to try to turn in crimes that were committed against me because of the mandated reporter thing, and they're supposed to have a social worker on hand.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, they sent me to Tillamook Family Counseling Center again, which I'd already been sent to,
Yeah.
and all they want to do is set me up for therapy 30 days away.
Yeah.
So none of these places are trying at all to coordinate with you guys, despite me asking and knowing and being aware. I also have taken the self-advocacy training courses, 3 different ones so far. And even though I've taken the self-advocacy courses, they're able to manipulate the situation because I'm alone and because I don't have a place to process all of the evidence. So I've got a lot of my evidence on YouTube. It's public, so it allows people to target me from the public. And because of my friend getting shot in the head, the public has very well hated me for a very long time. Because her name is Natalie Bollinger,
Yeah.
and the guy who killed her is the Craigslist killer.
Wow.
Joseph Lopez, but they tried to paint me as her killer first.
Craigslist killer. Oh my God.
Joseph Lopez,
Been through so much.
yeah.
Sean.
The
That
other
often
thing is,
happens is they look at people around the victim and accuse them. And
well,
it's,
she got a protection order against me 2 weeks before she died while I was trying to get a protection order against her and her friends.
Oh.
But police in
Were you guys
Nebraska and
fighting?
no, we weren't friends anymore.
Oh,
See, what
I'm
happened
sorry.
is she was on drugs
Yeah.
and she was going to commit suicide if I didn't go to Virginia.
Okay.
It started off as I was abused by the local police in Boulder after I hurt my back. I literally couldn't take care of myself and they made my life hell and I was suicidal. So she
Wow.
came into my life. I'd known
Okay.
her since she was 13.
Yeah.
I didn't know her name. She was one of the little kids that showed up to, I didn't know this at the time, but she was selling drugs.
Okay.
I have the emails and all of the evidence of all of that,
Really?
including her, Natalie Bollinger. Yes, ma'am.
Volunteer.
Now, like with a lot of people who are their predators or their family, she
Yep.
wanted them to accept her and to love her. My family's never going to do that for me, but I'm repeatedly sent to my family. I'm told by a lot of different agencies, well, don't you have friends or family to do this? I'm like, well, I'm supposed to go to you guys and work with
No, I
social services
don't.
and
Yeah.
adult protective
Yeah.
services because I don't.
Yeah.
And then they basically play word games so that they don't have to do that
Oh my
and
God.
try to say, like, one of the officers here, not Trent Olson, he's involved in a couple of other situations. But I've
Do you
been,
have any police officers that you're good with here that are good to you at all?
no, ma'am, but there's one yesterday that I didn't want to kill myself when he showed up, so that kind of helped. His name is Fitzgerald, and trying to coordinate with him is not going to work because of how far it's gotten.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
crimes been
Well,
committed
I'm glad
against
that
me
you
in
came
this town.
here.
Thank you,
Glad
ma'am.
that you came here. I'm
Um,
glad that you're in self-advocacy. I'm very impressed.
well, it doesn't work though, and that's one of the things with me going to all these places is that the few times that I've gone to adult protective services, I've had to do this over the phone, and with my technological disabilities,
Yeah.
it's very difficult for me. Also, when I'm in a state of crisis, I have temporary ADHD, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
So every sound, every
Trauma, right?
interruption, yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been through the
Uh-huh.
trauma courses and I've been
Wow.
trying to teach those on my Facebook and on my YouTube. And I
Good
do
for
bring
you.
those up when I talk to the mandated reporters and they're just, sorry.
You're okay. You're not bothering me. I
The-
believe you.
the
Thank
little
you
cart-
for coming
thank you,
here.
ma'am. The cart that was going by earlier with the situation with that, obviously you have the same issue that I did. It's a human thing.
It's a human thing.
So
Yep.
for me being forced to do this in public
Sensory.
and having to talk about rape and murder and a lot of stuff like that, having to do that from Fred Myers, being victimized by the local population everywhere I go, and then I do go to the mandated reporters,
Yeah.
I understand that this is not organized or in order, and that's because I am in a state of crisis. But yesterday, when I was sent to, for the last 6 months, when I've been sent to the police department to turn in the police department, instead of them sending out a superior, they send out Officer Lotham, who is one of my predators in this town, who
Wow.
really botched his job when I first got here with a lady named Molly.
Oh.
The situation there almost resulted in me getting my life ended. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a serious situation.
Yeah.
Because he didn't do his job then to collect evidence or to do his job as a mandated reporter. Now she's 65 or older and on the streets, and
Wow.
she's got some issues of her own, so she could qualify as a disabled adult too. So for
Right.
in
Right.
that situation, the right thing for them to do was to get a hold of somebody and make sure that both of us were okay with a caseworker there and
Mhm.
present, and they have outright refused to do that.
But there's a huge problem that we focus on children and elderly And so many of us get missed in
The
that,
disabled
right? Yeah.
especially, yeah.
Disabled, absolutely. Homeless, yes. Do you have somewhere to stay? Are you living somewhere?
I'm living in my car, and as
Your
you
car,
probably
okay.
know, it's illegal to live anywhere in your car in the state of Oregon.
Right.
You can pay money, but my disability money is only $800 a month.
Okay.
Now, because I get disability, a lot of people have committed disability fraud against me. They offer services to help me, and then they take the billing acceptance, or they take my money and then they don't perform the duties required.
Wow. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Now,
Have you worked with CARE at all?
they're one of the places I'm trying to turn in, because after I've got it recorded too. I explained to them that I was there because I needed a mandated reporter, and that I couldn't process everything, that I am autistic and disabled, and that I'm in a state of crisis. And they basically just brushed me off and sent me elsewhere. They sent me to TFCC. TFCC sent me to Tides of Change. Tides of Change, a lady there named Monica was going to try to help me, but she didn't understand that with my disabilities and with her not calling you guys, that it
Yeah.
wasn't going to work out. Well, it turns out the Tides of Change they're not mandated reporters.
They're not. No, you're right.
And that's the thing, is that was the only services that pretended like they would. And when I realized that they weren't mandated reporters, and that she wasn't going to help me with the paperwork, and that
Yeah.
I didn't have the ability to do it myself.
Well, she wanted to, I'm sure.
She did
yeah.
want to, but also there's the time availability that she had.
Yeah.
There's the fact that they didn't have a room to allow me to use to do any of this stuff that I need to do for myself. I'm being told to do all this stuff over the internet because I can't do it over the internet. And then I'm told by other places I've literally gone to every service here at least 5 times.
I hear you. Yeah. So
but
did something happen to you here? Were you raped here?
No, ma'am. I was sexually assaulted in the prison in Lincoln over Natalie Bollinger's death. That's Lincoln, Nebraska, and Natalie was killed in Colorado. And this is because I was trying to turn in the mandated reporters, both in Colorado and Nebraska, that I'd gone to before Natalie's death, about the stalking, the threats, the harassment, the assaults, people threatening to kill my friends and family. And to this day, not one officer has assisted me in turning that in.
Okay.
Meanwhile, when I'm forced to move, I'm told that a lot of these programs, I'm told by the programs locally, they can't do anything because of jurisdiction. I have to do something back where I came from. But I was victimized into leaving where I came from, and I was told if I moved elsewhere, I could still turn it in elsewhere because these are federal programs.
Yeah.
So then when I go to those places, they say, no, you can't
Where
do that.
was
You
it
have
at?
to call originally. I've got literally thousands of calls. So for you to ask in specific which ones and which days, we can go through with my evidence in the vehicle. That's the thing, is that 6 years of it piling up, being targeted because I was accused of being a stalker, not being allowed to show the evidence, all of my money being poured into a vehicle that's falling apart.
Yeah.
And the situation with me still being homeless, because all of these services, they just want to focus on getting housing. I did finally get housing in Chapel, Nebraska. The problem is I was still being victimized there because I was socially isolated.
Yeah.
I couldn't leave my house without having to be afraid that people would hurt me. And just like here, there's a lot of nice people there, like really super nice.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between nice and good.
Yeah. Good. Yes.
A good person will stick up for you.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've been assaulted for sticking up for people.
Yeah.
Now, I tried to turn in sexual predators. I've got a lot of evidence of those still.
Okay.
I've been told by law enforcement, and I've also researched the laws myself, any agency, I can turn in these crimes to any agency.
Yeah.
But for me to be able to do all the police report stuff, I still have to have a room with peace and quiet to do it in,
Yeah.
like, closing the door while that thing's going by.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I literally can't function.
Even this air is bothering me, so I feel you. I mean, the sound of it it distracts me. So,
Another thing is with One of the tactics they use is just to talk over me or to,
Yeah.
with Lotham, for example, he showed up at the hospital. He was one of the people I was trying to turn in.
Okay.
And instead of them sending him away, they allowed him to grill me for about 30 minutes. That's recorded on my YouTube channel.
Wow.
Because I recorded on YouTube, there are people all over the world who have offered to help, and then they say I can't do anything. I'm in Australia, I'm in New
Right,
Zealand, I'm
right.
in wherever. Meanwhile, by the police officers retaliating against me for trying to turn them in,
Mhm.
they're able to utilize their position of power to.
I don't think so. Do you want some water or something? Are you thirsty?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you,
Super
though.
good. Yeah, thank you.
Now, all the services that I was going to before Natalie was killed ended up being pretty screwed up, because they were doing the same thing as here. Instead of doing their job as mandated reporters, sending me to other places. They were telling me that I needed to go to Colorado Coalition of the Homeless, and I needed to go to a therapist, and I went to the therapist. I was told that a therapist is a mandated reporter and they're supposed to help you turn it in. I went to Nicole Jarrell. She turned me over to Jeff Ritter of Colorado Coalition of the Homeless, and Jeff Ritter was working with Kara Heller, who was supposed to be my case manager, but she wasn't doing anything to help me turn it in. She was busy trying to discourage me from doing so. A lot of people ended up doing that. Now, at the very beginning, I didn't have the ability to record, and I do now.
Sorry, I just had a message. If you don't mind, if it bothers you, me messaging back, you just let me know.
Well, I can talk through it, and it is being recorded, so I can give it to you in case there's anything that's missed, so that you can go back through.
No, I'm
Obviously.
hearing you, and that whole thing about talking over people, like the loudest person in the room is not always right?
Exactly, but they're the one who's being heard, so I had to make sure that I was louder than them.
Yeah.
While people wanted to continue to message me and threaten to kill my friends and family with
Wow.
police officers nationwide, I've literally been from one end of the country to the other, just so you know. I've had to stay
This
with
sounds
alcoholics
like
and
it.
drug addicts.
Yeah.
Most of the people who offered to help me were either used to be friends of mine that
Yes.
were involved in the situation, or a lot of web sleuths. They like to watch that true crime stuff, and a lot of them end up being, they're usually women who are mothers between the ages of 34 and 55
Yeah.
are the primary viewers. And a lot of them, they get on and they tell me how to think and how to feel, which
No.
you're not supposed to do.
That's not gonna help.
Yep.
That's not gonna help at all.
Also, they keep sending me to agencies to go to them by myself, and I explain that that is a safety issue because I have one chance to get heard,
Yeah.
and because of the situations that I've been in, and because
Yeah.
I'm afraid and so easy to talk over and walk over, that one chance can't be wasted by forcing me to go by myself, and telling me to ignore it is
Yeah.
not going to stop the abuse. That allows the predator to get away, and it allows them to harm others. A lot of the
Well, I'd
child.
love to make a report if you would like. Would you like to turn your documents over to me? Or would you like to verbally give me a report?
Well, I won't be able to actually function for 2 to 3 days verbally, because of the situation yesterday with the officers. But if there's a room that I can sit down in and an email address I can send the stuff to, then I can, because of my disabilities, I have a messed up back.
Yeah.
And my T11, T12, there's a wedge there that is extremely painful. Now, I also have lumbar problems. When I told the doctor in
How many
Tillamook
papers do
Hospital,
you have?
I have about 6,000 pieces of paper
Oh my
evidence,
good lord.
and I have 5,000 videos on my YouTube, as
So-
well as about 14 to 15,000 screenshots overall of threats, harassment, intimidation, and attempts to get help.
Wow,
I also
Wow.
have, I want to say
thousands.
6 to 8,000 recordings with various people about
Wow.
the threats, harassment, and intimidation that they've gone through,
Videos.
who their abusers are. I've got multiple
Wow.
videos that have people admitting to murder in them.
Wow.
I also have, there's a video from the Dalles, Oregon.
That's
We were sent
terrifying.
to it is. We were sent to a place called, it's a Russian church, Saint Peter's.
Mhm.
Well, they have a parish house, sort of, I guess. It's
Oh, okay.
a homeless shelter, but it's not a shelter. You can go in there and eat, and then
Yeah.
you're kicked out. But they have some limited services there. This is where they send you for help and for a safe place to stay.
Yeah.
While I was there, there was a woman there named Jamie who was assaulted repeatedly. She has panic attacks and starts screaming about it. And
Yeah.
then one of the guys that was there, he followed her, and she was screaming about them raping her and assaulting her, and he hit her in the back of the head. I tried to direct his attention by yelling. It's
Yeah.
called Jamie again. She is an at-risk and disabled adult, and
Okay.
she's barely got her bearings. I did get a hold of the services there. They
You
took
are
advantage of me
huge.
not having a place to.
Huge advocate.
I'm an asshole.
You are a good friend, is what you are.
If you listen to my channel, I curse like a sailor. I could make a sailor
What's your
blush.
channel called?
It's called Sean David, and it's a picture of me holding a baby goat.
With,
SHAWN.
oh, thank you. SHAWN, David
DAVID.
with baby goat. So our problem is our printers are down, as you saw. We're
I
switching
have a
out
printer. I can
printers.
bring my printer. Well, I can't bring my printer because, all right, I have storage.
Yeah,
Because of that wedge in my back, I can't just keep going up and down the storage,
No.
and I don't have a first floor storage. I also
okay.
don't have the money to maintain any of this.
right.
All of my money has been spent
Yeah.
running around the TFCC, to be sent to Tides of Change, to be sent to the police, to be sent down to the courthouse, to be sent to
Uh-huh.
the Seventh-day Adventist,
Yeah,
then to be sent from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, to be sent to the First Christian Church, to be sent to
yeah. So-
St.
In all this, have you found anybody that you trust to check in with, to visit with? Have you found the good people? Right?
There's a lot of nice people, but there's a severe lack of good people.
Yeah.
Most of them are afraid of your police department, just so you know.
Yeah,
I have over 100 recordings with various people in the community who are
Uh-huh.
afraid of your police.
yeah. I'm sorry.
And a lot of their stories of
Is
why.
there anybody at TFCC that you like?
No, there's nobody I trust. I see when I've
Right.
gone there,
And I'm
they've
just having a conversation with you.
You're right.
I mean, I'm not,
um,
I just wanna know if you've found good people to talk to too.
I haven't. A lot of
Okay.
the problem is that a lot of the people I'm having to talk to are coworkers of other people that I am trying to turn in.
Yeah,
And as a result, as mandated reporters, they still have to turn it in, but
Yeah.
they instead tend to coordinate. When I
Yeah.
went to the courthouse yesterday, I got 8 different all right, so there was Sheriff's Deputy Fox, and then there was the people at the district court.
mhm,
And then there was the people that they sent me to in the DA's office, victims assistants, who sent me back to the police, who sent me to. They also had 3 or 4 phone numbers, which I explained to them I was trying to turn in TFCC as well as TCCHC.
and you're trying to
because-
turn them in for not making a report?
for Medicare fraud. Instead of doing their jobs as mandated reporters, they're taking my Medicaid card.
Yeah.
For services.
Yeah,
Well, I am not going there for therapy. I'm going there
to
because they're
report.
mandated reporters, exactly. And I do explain that to
So
them.
I will turn
They
that
talk
in.
right over me to
TFCC.
make an appointment.
So who else didn't turn in? Courthouse? I will make a report because we are the mandatory reporters here and they could have called us, so TFCC courthouse.
TFCC
Police.
on one of the occasions, January 28th, when I
Uh-huh.
was assaulted
Yeah.
at the hospital, TFCC had a lady there, I believe her name was Kate or Katie. And when I was trying to explain to her what was going, okay, I should start at the beginning of that one. That's probably the first one I should report if I can
Okay.
focus on January 28th of this
Yeah,
year.
absolutely.
All right.
Kate or Katie.
January 28th of this year, I was having a mental breakdown from being sent around from service to service and being told that it's literally nobody's job. They sent me around in circles.
Yeah.
So I had a mental breakdown and I was also having severe back issues. Mike McKinster took me from the Denny's where I had a complete and total meltdown there. He took me to the hospital so that I could try to do what I needed to, and he was gonna stay there with me. Well, he didn't. He was there for a little bit, and the doctor, when I went in there, had a pretty snooty attitude. And when he was checking my reflexes, my disabilities are with my back, and that affects my legs. Plus,
Yeah.
assaults by officers, which affect me permanently.
Wow.
So when I was explaining that, the doctor started getting kind of an attitude with me. Then he felt my back higher up than my lumbar vertebrae, and I told him that I have lumbar issues.
Yeah.
But he touched me higher up, and it was very sensitive, and it hurt really bad. So then he tried to insinuate that I was a liar because I told him I had lumbar injuries. I do have my paperwork in my vehicle from which hospital is it? It doesn't matter. I have the paperwork. It'll
Yep.
say it on the paperwork. The first
I
thing I
believe
forget
you,
is
yeah.
names and numbers,
Uh-huh.
but I do have the paperwork.
Okay.
It says that I have that wedge at the T11.
What did you do to your back? What was your injury?
One of them was that I was moving an 800-pound gun lathe with 6 other people who dropped it.
Sean, oh my God.
It's over 100 pounds apiece, you know,
Yeah.
they did a pretty good job.
Holy smokes.
Yeah,
What year was that? Like, how long ago was that, do you think?
2015.
Okay. 2015 injury. Oh my God,
Yeah.
Sean.
But I didn't get disability until 2017. All right, so the thing that happened January 28th at the hospital,
Yep.
Mike McKinster took me there, and then the doctor did that
Yep.
thing where he basically treated me like I was a liar. They did give me a pill. I put the pill in, I gagged on it and puked it up, which I didn't do intentionally, and I was getting a lot of guff from that. Mike had to go back
Do
to
you
work
have
at the Denny's.
Sensory issues with
I do.
taste,
With texture,
With-
pills.
which makes
Pills.
sense.
So I tried
Doctors don't
to,
even know what they're doing.
after Natalie was shot in the head, I tried to commit suicide
Wow.
by swallowing a bunch of pills in
so-
chocolate pudding.
So that might be a trauma trigger for you to take
It-
pills
it
too.
is.
Yeah.
But also,
Yeah.
I grew up on pills. That was their solution for everything in the
Yep.
80s. So I was on medications that have been since deemed unsafe for human consumption.
Yep.
But the
Oh,
situation on January 28th, after Mike McKinster left, the lady from TFCC was there, and I was explaining to her that I was there because of the back injuries and because I needed a mandated reporter, where she
Yeah.
immediately started pulling the suicide thing, trying to get me to say something she could manipulate into me being suicidal. When I refused to do that and told her that that is a trick question,
yeah.
she got an attitude with me, started raising her voice very loud,
Yeah.
and the doctor came in and he was very forceful as well. And obviously he already didn't like me. So
Yeah.
he started yelling at me to leave the hospital and pushing me and poking me, and hard, mind you.
Yeah.
Now, all of the people that were at the hospital when that happened, there was a lot of people there in the emergency room. There was
Yeah,
at least 6 other people there who were hospital staff, either nurses or doctors, and every one of them is a mandated reporter. Their cameras in the hospital does show that I was assaulted. I did try taking it to the police. I tried taking it to TFCC. I tried taking it to TCCHC, and
Who
none of
assaulted?
them
Who
got a
was the
hold of me.
people that assaulted you?
Dr. Stephan L. Stephanides is the only one who actually physically assaulted me.
I'll look that up on it. That was Tillamook Hospital.
Yes, ma'am. I got his name off of my wristband. That does not mean that he was the physician that they necessarily gave me. He might have
Right.
just been the one who was in charge that night.
Right.
So the doctor who assaulted me might not be him, but he
Right.
was a gray-haired man and
Right.
he had a face mask on. So
Right.
it's difficult to tell him in a
Face
lineup.
mask. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now, since
Wow.
then, there's a lot of people with mental issues and issues of their own that have been trying to help me, and I do have the recordings of all of their excuses and or reasons for not being able to,
Mm.
and they don't line up with what the cops say, and
Yeah.
that's been pretty universal. I've been disabled my entire life. They had money for disability that I was supposed to be able to have going back as far back as that.
Yeah,
Instead,
yeah.
they gave it to me starting in Virginia
Wow.
in 2017.
Yeah.
Now, the situation
down.
here
Okay.
in Tillamook on January 28th is that I shouldn't have ever been here if mandated reporters had done their jobs in Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota, Montana,
Yeah.
Bristol, Tennessee, as well as Bristol, Virginia. I've literally been from one end of the country to the other since
Yeah.
2016.
Forms.
Going to people's houses who promise if I expend my resources to get there, they'll help me to process the evidence.
No.
But it doesn't work. They just end up taking
Yeah.
advantage of me and I end up with no money.
Yeah. Let's see. Are you open to communicating with CARE and TFCC to
I,
try to work together with these agencies and have some, accountability, some consequences?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna go get some releases. I can't legally talk to them on your behalf without a release sign. I'll go grab some releases,
Okay.
and I know the nurse over there and one of the caseworkers that I can work with.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you for trusting me and reporting this.
I don't trust anybody. That's why I record. And that's not anything against you.
Nothing
It's that it's
personal.
personal experience.
Well, let me rephrase that then. Thank you for being open to sharing with me. I
Yes,
really
ma'am.
appreciate it. I will be right back. Can't leave this, there's other notes. And I'll see about space. I'll ask my manager what we can do.
Yes,
We might
ma'am.
have to wait till the copiers back up and going.
The most important thing is the preservation of evidence. If you guys need,
Yeah.
I can drive to my storage facility and grab my printer.
Okay. I don't know if we're allowed to use other printers here, so let me go ask.
All right.
Thank you. Are you comfortable
ma'am.
sitting in here?
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
want the door open or shut?
It probably shut. It's quieter and I can
Is
think
noise?
better.
Okay.
E- uh, uh, uh,
Party's over there? Yes, it is. Hi there. Sorry it took me so long. Thank you for your patience.
well, I'm gonna throw a tantrum.
Are you?
You know, there's not enough space to flop like a fish. We gotta find a grocery store for that.
You are funny. I appreciate it. Do you know Joy at Care? A woman named Joy. She's curly hair. She's new.
Joy with the curly hair?
Yeah.
No.
She's very kind. She's a friend of mine. She's very new there though, so you might not have met her yet. So,
Well, the thing about me going to all these services is that I end up filling out the Medicare stuff at all of them, or just filling out paperwork when I get there and being sent to other places.
well, like you said, TFCC not having an appointment for how many weeks? Like, that's not helpful.
And I've gone to
You need to-
multiple appointments at TCCHC as well.
What
And
is that?
Tillamook County something
Oh, the
health.
community health center, yeah.
Yeah.
Who have you seen there?
Dr. Janelle Boggs as well as Esther Brandine
Do
or
you like
Brady.
Danelle?
I like her as a person, but like I said, none of these people did their jobs as mandated reporters. I shouldn't have been set up with
Well, who would you
appointments
like
for them.
me to talk to? Cause I can get releases signed, but I cannot advocate for you and I can't say a word unless you want me to. So,
I do.
um,
You're probably
so-
gonna need 2 to 3 dozen of those.
well, let's get a start and then you can come back and see me, okay? So, let's see, purpose of disclosure. So mandatory reporting, we want to say this is what we can talk about. Mandatory reporting. Issues. We need to be very specific. Mandatory reporting issues, services, appointment needs. If they can't get you in,
Same thing that happened in Hood River and the Dalles, which are
Right.
also 2 things that I was told that I could turn in at this office.
so,
But I was also told that I should come here with a friend or family member to do that, same as they told
Tillamook.
me everywhere else.
wait. Do I put this, release from, to? So, Tillamook. I'm gonna say DHS. Conversations with Lexi. Contact person, Lexi Hampton. That is myself.
Okay.
What is our address here? Tillamook, Oregon. Okay, mutual exchange, yes, 1 year from signatures.
Also, a lot of the abuse by the addicts here with me trying to turn them into the police and the mandated reporters, they're not happy with me. And because the mandated reporters didn't do anything about the instances that happened on their property, I'm afraid to go to the places where there's food. I basically live down in the area of Fred Meyer, but it's illegal for me to be there. And that's one of the things that makes it so that I can't function out there, is being stuck in public with noise.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense to me, absolutely. Let's see.
Also having to talk about rape and murder in places like Starbucks and Denny's, and
That's a little uncomfortable to be
it's not just for me, for everybody.
for everyone
around me,
else. That's
you
what I
know?
mean. There might be children there.
And
Yeah.
that's what I try to explain too. Also, I'm told to go to the library. I can't set up my stuff in the library because I have to walk with a book bag inside of the building, and that having to do that and then take it back down out of the building and back to
Yeah.
my vehicle could make it so that I have to sit in my car for 2 days before I can try it again.
Right, right.
Back injuries
So,
are stupid. They
how
don't
about-
care what other people think.
Janelle Boggs. So, Tillamook Community, I think it's called Health Center.
Tillamook County Community Health Center. Yes, ma'am.
There you go. What is there? I'll put the addresses on them later if you don't mind.
That's all right.
Okay. I know where they're at. You know where it's at. So I need another pen here. So if you just put your information at the top, you don't
They
have to
have
put
my
an
next
address.
appointment there as the 25th of this month.
Okay.
I also have an appointment at PCCHC the 25th of this month, which is what they did instead of the mandatory reporting thing.
Okay.
So that's why I have appointments at both, is because it's, even though I'm supposed to be going to them as mandated reporters,
Yeah.
that's the Medicaid fraud that I'm talking about. The
Okay.
Medicaid fraud.
Um,
They shouldn't have scheduled me appointments for therapy. They should have helped me as mandated reporters. That's why I was sent to them. But with them getting word of mouth, or I'll give you what did Mel Boggs call it? A recommendation to TFCC. And
uh-huh.
I was like, I've already been there.
I've been there, done that. Well,
Yeah,
maybe they can
and
report
she
to me
also-
with these.
Yes, ma'am. Also, I have a recording with Janelle Boggs, one of my appointments.
Uh-huh.
She has absolutely nothing good to say about the services here or about TFCC. She quit her job there.
Okay.
But she's also running for school board, and right now she's on 4 weeks of grand maternity leave.
She is. Yeah. I like her though. I think that she's a good person to
So am
To
I
have in your
delusional? Am I
corner.
delusional and schizophrenic, or did I tell the truth about that? That's one of the things that I'm having an issue with, is that a lot of the people that I'm going to are pretending I'm delusional and
You sound
schizophrenic.
extremely clear to me, sir.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Like, okay, whatever.
and you're funny. You're extremely clear. So
Yeah, I did try. I was the only guy in Chapel High School history to ever try out for cheerleading.
Hmm. How did you make the squad?
No, I was the only person there that could do the double nines though, and
Oh my
it was
gosh.
like 1999, so that was like a really cool thing to be able to do.
Uh-huh.
But they told me that they'd already ordered skirts, and then
Oh my
they
gosh.
looked at me very insulted, like when I said, "Well, I don't mind wearing a skirt."
Data records. Recent. Lexi Hampton. So where else? We want one for care.
One of the things I'm having an issue with also is that there's been so much of it, it's just piled up. Like I said, 4,000 pieces of paper alone.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you could tell me and tell the people that we're signing the releases to, and then they can report to me, then you can stop having to collect the paper because you are reporting.
Yes, ma'am. The other thing is the most important part is having a safe place to sit down in peace and quiet
Yeah.
with the evidence, because I'm not going to be able to remember it all. It's too much.
You need somebody to sit and walk through this with you.
I need somebody to help me go through the
Exactly,
evidence.
that's
and
what I
have a
mean.
place to do that.
You
They're
need-
only able to set up appointments for therapy and
Yeah.
only 50 minutes at a time is all they're
Okay.
allowed to do.
Yeah,
And that is not
right.
significant enough.
But I don't even know if you need the papers. You're so quick-minded. You could probably sit down and tell me these things.
I could, but also,
I'm impressed.
the situation with the officers yesterday is that I'm still experiencing technical difficulties with my speech patterns
Right,
because it takes 2 to 3 days for me to recover after a situation like that.
absolutely. You have a lot of self-awareness that is really important.
Yeah, I grew up in the
Sure.
system. My parents couldn't stay off the drugs, so they locked me up with a bunch of black kids and a bunch of crazy kids.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness.
I was locked up with kids who were there because they killed their grandparents. And there was one boy that I was locked up with who literally, he was there for a mental health hold before they sent him to juvie. And he was there because he raped his sister to death. I'm like, that is the cause of death? That is insane.
Oh,
There is no way that's a cause of death.
that is so sad.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Also, there's a lot of the people that I've tried to turn in that have been on the news. So it's easy to verify without having to go through all of the legal routes because it is on the news and they did report about these people being convicted. Sarah Nelson is a lady in the prison in Lincoln.
mhm.
She was the assistant warden and I had to try to turn her in to herself. And
Yeah,
she is now in prison for sexual assault against an inmate. Also, Michelle Decini is in prison for sexual assault against an inmate, and she was one of the corporals there.
Yeah.
Also, Vicky Peterson is also in prison for sexual assault against an inmate, as well as smuggling in drugs. And there's also Michelle Decini, who is one of the sheriff's departments that I attempted to go to in Nebraska. Well, she ended up helping Sheriff Scott DaCosta instead. And she then got in trouble for beating up her girlfriend and lost her job. Nebraska State Patrol kept telling me it's not their job to police the police, but
Right.
every one of these people is investigated and taken down by Nebraska State Patrol.
right.
They just wouldn't do their jobs as mandated reporters either, down from one place to another.
So Sean is SHAWN. And
Yes,
what was
ma'am.
your last name, Sean?
SCHWARTZ.
Oh, can you say it again?
SCHWARTZ.
And your date of birth?
October 18th, 1980.
1980. Good year, the 80s. Your middle initial?
Yeah, I was born while John Lennon was still alive.
Ah!
D for David.
D for David. Do you go by any other names?
No, ma'am.
And do you have a
There's
good
lots of
working
people.
cell phone that I can get?
Yeah, can I write that down?
Yeah,
It's getting recorded.
right here, phone number.
All right.
All right.
I got this phone here from TCCHC. If it was a smartphone, I could actually use it so that I could use one for recording and use the other one for showing evidence, which would make it a lot easier. But
Right.
with all the running around to get that done, like right now, I'm really able to speak well. But my
well.
ability to actually do these things for myself is nearly non-existent. Let me,
I think you're doing great. So phone number right here. I filled out your name for you.
um,
And then, so who do we got? We got Danelle, we got Care, we want to get one for TFCC.
there's also a lot of evidence that was time sensitive, and because the runaround that I've been given, a lot of the crimes against me, they're trying to tell me it's past the statute of limitations, which is, one of the things about them doing stuff like this is that instead of people getting turned in immediately and the evidence getting shown, it ends up being me running around for 6 months trying to find help. Right now, for me being out on the streets at all is a safety risk and a safety hazard because
Yeah.
of several homeless people I've had issues with.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Well, you better be sorry. It's all your fault. I saw you do it.
Sean.
I'm so full of it. My eyes are brown.
Good, so are mine.
There you
Awesome. And then the signature goes on the back if you want to give permission for me to talk to CARE. Signature, printed name, and the date is May 12th. Okay. Yeah,
go. Oh,
we're almost done.
but I was also informed that because they didn't follow any of the procedures for an at-risk adult,
So here's for the counseling center, if you
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
sign.
that it's falls under the same category as heinous crimes, and because
Wow.
I'm unable to prepare this stuff for myself, the charges can still be filed. The only problem is that a lot of evidence they were able to destroy after a year.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna work on this for you. Here's your last one for Janelle Boggs. And then you can stop back by and talk to me next week, okay?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we'll see where we're at. I have this report written down.
So
and then we
with the issues with the police, I should just avoid the police if at all possible,
Yeah.
because where I'm at, I'm not sure if that's possible.
If at all possible, yeah, just try to lay low and keep a good, I don't know how to say it, keep yourself safe.
That I'm not capable of doing, and that's one of the issues with me having.
Well, that's
I'm
a
not
silly
able to
thing
do a
for
lot
me
of the
to
stuff that
say.
I'm asked to do,
Yeah.
like make police reports from
Right.
inside of my vehicle because I can't look at the evidence.
Right. Well, that's why we need to figure out a way to go through the evidence with you.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you for coming in. This must be so hard for you.
Well, a lot of it is that there's so much of it that you're probably going to get overwhelmed in a week or less.
That's okay. I can handle it. You can handle it. I can handle it, Sean.
Well, I hope you don't end up with those images.
Well, and they
in
can
your head.
report. They can report to me, because then we have people in the community doing their job as mandatory reporters, reporting to DHS.
And that way they set me up appointments as far as that goes.
Yes, sir.
Do you know how soon they might be able to do that?
I
Because
don't.
I'm scared.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
scared out there every day.
God, I hate that. I hate that.
Also, I get harassed a lot. There's a guy who's been, he got my phone number and has been harassing me. I've gotten hundreds of restricted phone calls from restricted phone numbers harassing me when I'm trying to explain what's going on my YouTube channel. I get bullied and harassed by
Yeah.
them there. I get bullied and harassed everywhere except my email, oddly enough.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Which,
somebody
I
needs
should
to
have you
try.
write that down, dog
Oh,
at gmail.com.
yeah, I'd love to check it out. Okay. Hang on, let me get back to my page that has your report. Okay, what's your email?
DOG GED
Uh-huh.
ROMAN.
ROMAN.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
At gmail.com. Also, if you get one from See Justice Prevail at gmail.com, that one is mine as well.
See Justice Prevail. I love it. Well, it's great working with you, Sean. Thank you
Thank
so
you, ma'am.
much.
Hopefully, we can do something about getting the evidence where it needs to go. and-
That's right. I'm glad that there's people like you in the world.
Oh, that depends on whether or not I'm cursing like a sailor. I'm glad that it didn't become a situation here where I was intimidated like many of the other places I've gone.
No, thank you. It's great working with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. I'll see you soon, Sean. You get some sunshine, okay?
I can do that.
Okay.
I don't think I have a choice. The clouds went away.
Yes. Perfect.
Hey. All right, so there's several hundred mandated reporters that have not done their jobs. All right, so you got to check out this truck. This truck reminds me of Nebraska. Blam! That's a grain truck, homie. That's a big one too. That's different than a farming grain truck because you got the grain trucks that you drive out in the fields, big old mudding tires, dually back end, and they fill those up by combine, and then they go and take them to the well, they got a filler like that. A lot of times they'll have 3 or 4 trucks when they're running at night, and during the course of the night they'll take that over and they'll dump it over to the semi, and then it'll fill up the semi, and then in the morning the semi is already ready to go for the moment the what do you call it? Grain elevator. When the grain elevator opens. You might be able to get 2 or 3 big semis in a day, depending on how many workers you got, how many fields, and the yield for that year. There's a lot of stuff around here that reminds me of home, but you know what does not remind me of home? My real home is Nebraska, right? That's where I was born. Well, Nebraska's never been a real home to me, but they don't have mountains like that in Nebraska. And these are wet mountains. This isn't highland desert like Boulder, Colorado. Hopefully they're gonna work together to try to get something done. And I gotta remember Joy is the lady I'm supposed to talk to. So I should probably go to care and explain to Joy that I gotta fill out the paperwork for her to call and talk to Hampton, is that right? I fucking suck with names. I usually say that's right, it's recorded, but shit, I should have brought a pen and written it down, you know? Hindsight. And I had to give up the room, and that lady did do a lot of the old stuff, but, you know, I was able to work with it. And she did work well with the situation and understanding it at least to some degree. And the complications and the fact that none of these people got hold of her or her office. None of them. Now I gotta write down the times and dates. man and make pop joke because of the smell outside, and then I realized you have skunk weed out there. Very nice, thank you. Your ears hang low. Breathe. All right. Got my cap. Keeps bees out my whatchamawhat's-it. Comes out one of them 50-cent machines where you get the little plastic rings or necklaces and the like. Mm-hmm. Don't tell anybody I do like Fitzgerald. Although his name's not Edmund. And he ain't sunk. One of the things that's important when working with at-risk adults is trust. A lot of things happen. Things that I'm not capable of changing. However, my case is capable of changing the future for all of us. There's been a long reigning belief that looking the other way, or as you call it, minding your own business, is the best policy when it comes to abuse. Spousal abuse, abuse of power, abuse of force. The problem with referrals is that they're not explaining, in most cases, what these referrals are for. And I wasn't joking about the diced up marijuana baggies. I think there's only one right now that's got marijuana baggies in it. And yeah, I slice them and dice them down to little ribbons. All of these mandated reporters should have known the proper procedure. They'll change the proper procedure over and over again. Anything that they told me, other than the situation with Adult Protective Services, well, there's a lot of lies that go into that. Mandated reporters had to pretend that they don't know the law. What the hell was that? A notification. What the hell? Emergency callback. That is strange. Let's see if there's a way to take a screenshot. It says emergency callback 149, 148, 147. So that's phone tracking. Let's see who it is that's phone tracking me. Sean has an appointment on May 25th at 10 a.m. at TCCHC Tillamook. Ay. Nearly all of my telephone calls, I make sure in the auto recordings that I say who it is I'm calling first. Natalie Bollinger's druggy friends gaslighted me. Until I had a mental breakdown. And then they pretended I was some sort of a stalker. Because I had a mental breakdown and reached out for help. Then they pretend I was stalking because I reached out for help. Hello, this is Sean Schwartz.
Hi, Sean. This is Alana, the Behavioral Health Assistant at Tillamook County Community Health Centers. How are you doing today?
Not very good. I was threatened, harassed, and intimidated by police yesterday and had a lot of issues with the courts trying to... I got 8 different versions of one law yesterday, so I'm pretty annoyed.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's not right. I'm so sorry.
You're calling to verify the appointment on the 25th of this month at 10 o'clock, is that correct?
Yes, I was calling to, yes, it is, 10 o'clock, and so it's a 9:40 check-in, and it's going to, we switched it from 10:30 to 10 o'clock just now. I was wondering if that was okay with you.
Yes, ma'am. Also, there was some mandated reporter stuff that I was supposed to go to you guys for, and I did make the attempt. I went down to the, hold on a second, social services here in Tillamook, and they had me sign a couple of releases here. I should probably go down to TCCHC and sign releases as well. Because of my communication disabilities and because of the issues of being overwhelmed as an autistic person, the damage committed by the police yesterday and also by the services that I went to for assistance, I probably won't be able to think real clearly or real well for at least a couple of days. But I'm pretty overwhelmed. But as far as the mandated reporter stuff goes, the Social Security folks, not the Office of Aging and Disability, but the one that's next to it, they're going to be calling you guys to set up an appointment so that I can do the mandated reporter thing. Do some pieces of paper for release, and they're going to try to see me next. Oh, crap. I should go back and get an appointment card anyway. I think I'm going to go do that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Well,
Is there anything else you needed?
Was there anything else that you needed any assistance with from me or anything?
Yes, ma'am. I need to meet with someone as soon as possible to help coordinate to get evidence to the places that it needs to go for Adult Protective Services and for the Nebraska Social Security Department. I'm going to go get the names and the card real quick. It's going to take me about 10 minutes to walk there and 10 minutes to walk back. Could you call me back then?
Okay, yeah, I'll try. Yeah, so I can get some information as well because I'll have to find out who I need to schedule you with. So that's good. Okay, yeah, I'll give you a call back in about 20-25 minutes, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean. All right, I'll
Bye.
call you back. Bye.
No arguments there. Very nice. Uh-oh, I made the Maori eyes. Gotta stick your tongue out when you do it, though. I'm intimidating. Nothing more annoying than having to make a mandated report and ending up with a therapy session. But they're going to take the Medicare and Medicaid. If they want to continue doing that, well, then Medicare and Medicaid can see about recovering their own money. Oh, fuck, I just broke my dash. Friggin' farvig nougat. I probably shouldn't say German stuff that I don't know the meaning of. See how much charge we got. Oh, it hasn't been plugged in, so none. That's always useful. Alright, fuck it. Fuck it. I'll do it this way. %3 charge, and I have 31% on my phone, so we're not completely screwed. probably grab a tobacco now and light it now. My pinky toe is mostly healed up, so it's a lot easier to glide, which is my style of walking. It prevents me from having too much impact, and that goes right up my spine. There, that's enough tobacco. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you coming home, so I don't know when. We'll get together then. You know we'll have a cool time then. Got planes to catch, bills to pay. Learn how to walk while he was away. I always remember the Ugly Kid Joe version. It was it Cat Stevens? So I have to look that up. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. A little boy blue man on the moon. When you coming home, son, I don't know. We'll get together then. You know we'll have a cool time then. Of course, I can't remember that whole song either. Which one I used to be able to sing. Can't remember all the lyrics to it. Say your prayers, little one. Don't forget my son. You include everyone. I took you in, warm within, keep you free from sin until the Sandman comes. Sleep with one eye open, gripping your pillow tight. Exit light, enter night. Take my hand, off to Never Neverland. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. And never mind that noise you heard. It's just a beast under your bed, in your closet, in your head. Let's see, what's another one I don't remember all the lyrics to. Well, don't you know that's the sound of the men working on the chain gang? Or, yeah, baby, you got a disease. You say it's just a rash, but I can see it up your, yeah, baby, you. I keep on falling in out of love with you. Sometimes I love you, at times you make me blue. You give me so much pleasure, cause me so much pain. there's if I die young, bury me in sand, lay me down. Oh, roots. I got no roots. Horrible. I was using my memory lapse issue, and I went, you know what? I walked all the way out there and I didn't get an appointment card
You have an appointment?
for next week, but I didn't pay as close of attention as I should have.
Okay, I will reach out to the worker that was working with you. Your name is Sean, correct?
Sean Schwartz.
Do you remember what date it was?
No, I remember it was today that I came in 20 minutes ago. All right.
Do you have a good phone number for them?
I do. Could I get a pen to write it down? Thank you, ma'am. Merci beaucoup. Well, that is tiny and cute.
Yeah, it's tiny and little like that.
It's also the manliest color there is. There are so many men who are afraid of the color pink. Even if they wear it, they have to call it salmon, where I kindly remind them that it's pink salmon.
It's definitely pink.
It's supposed to be hot pink, but I never burn myself when I touch the paper. My dry humor isn't too bad, but usually it took me a minute to remember my number. Ask a number. I did get a new phone, but I don't have the phone number remember. All right.
But after you send me that client, I will ask for when your appointment is and I will give you a call, okay?
Thank you very much. Oh, is there a card for her so that I have the thing to send any emails to her?
So we don't have a card for her. We do have a card for another one of our family coaches if you would like that.
Okay.
So that is Heather. She's another one of our family coaches, but I don't have that for Lex.
Well, anything that I'll send her, I'll write down to forward to Lexi. Let me make sure I write Lexi's name down. Is it Lexi Hammond?
Let's see.
See, it's a good thing I asked you instead of making her feel bad by mispronouncing it. Amphton or Den?
Hampton.
I had to ask because I know a couple of Handens. Spelled just slightly different. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Is there anything else that I can help you with?
Probably, but in my state of mind, I'm not gonna be able to figure it out at the moment. I'll probably figure it out 10 minutes after I've left. Thank you, ma'am.
The best.
Well, and the worst. I'm a really nice guy in person, but on the internet, I'm probably one of the biggest jerks there is. I don't usually curse in person, but on my YouTube channel, I don't stop. It's what gets heard, so it's what I do. It's sad. I thought, honesty was the best policy, but it turns out cursing and screaming and yelling and making a big idiot out of myself is the best way to get heard. Isn't that stupid? Oh, you want to hear me about my abuse? Well, watch this. I can do stupid human tricks. Thank you.
Of course, I'll give you a call before the other.
Thank you, ma'am.
Come on, baby.
All right, so there's one thing in this town that does scare me, but also I'm sure the KKK does a great job of keeping it in check. The theft of blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girls by the state. They're Well, you guys know about one type of human trafficking. The import and sales of human beings for sex trafficking. But you don't stop to recognize that hundreds of thousands of American families have been torn apart due to poverty, simply because there is so much profit to the state in taking away blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls under the age of 6. If they have blonde hair and blue eyes, and they're a newborn, we're talking about over $1.5 million, most of which goes to the state or a subsequent agency that has to work together with the state for the adoption, a state adoption agency. It's expensive. Public enemy number 1, Ted Bollinger. Other than Ted Bollinger, well, I think we should probably focus on public enemy number 1. Work on that first and keep at it. In order to get the evidence that I need, it's going to take a while to dig it out. A lot of times as I'm going through and digging out evidence that people lied in one situation, I'll run into a whole bunch of evidence of other people that lied, and I'm like, oh yeah, this dumb cunt said, I never told you that, Sean, and here's a screenshot of it. I should try to find that video and post that up. Sometimes I am able to go through and take screenshots, and when I make a video on YouTube, since I can't do the posting it up too easily from a telephone, fucking Christ, I'm trying to maintain a positive attitude and trying to keep talking and trying to keep singing and trying to not fucking focus on, goddamn it, my fucking back hurts. Merry Christmas, you know? There's a lot of people out here with back problems, and when they tell me that, I don't feel sorry for them. Not even a little bit. I feel fucking bad for them. Big goddamn difference. If they need help moving something, it sucks because you're a fucking burden. As a dude, you're taught that if you can't take care of yourself, you're a fucking burden. Meanwhile, there's lots of stuff I'm capable of doing. A whole lot I'm capable of doing. It's a good thing I'm trying to go the legal route still, instead of killing these people. Because killing doesn't fucking fix anything. Killing people to show that killing is wrong doesn't show that killing is wrong. It shows that you'll make the excuse to kill people. Just like the murderers did. They justified it themselves as well. It's not any more justifiable to you. Now, if they're in the process of trying to kill you and your family, by all means, protect yourself. That's not violence, that's defense. Big difference. They say the best offense is a good defense, and the best defense is a good offense. Well, those are pretty fucking memes. Maybe we should plan accordingly. It's too bad I got this lid on top of this thing, because I'm kind of a bug. playing around, obviously. With police, they didn't make any attempt to coordinate with the people they were supposed to until after they had already committed felonies, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Based on the food that Candace got for her and her son and her friend, he's probably living in a trailer, and they're probably living out of a vehicle. Rather than punishing Candace for being in that situation, they need to help her son to have a safe place. Candace doesn't matter in that situation, her son does. Her son will probably not adapt well in the system, so they do need to help his mother. If pressing charges on him for something that she did is what's necessary, well, the fact is, they can press charges on her, get her into these programs that can help, and housing. It's pathetic that they would literally have to charge her with a crime for that. There's 4 services here specifically for women in that situation, just so you know. I don't go to those services because they're not for men. They're seriously, literally just for women with children. They're not even for women. They're for women with children. Which means they're supposed to be children's services, but we need to worry about the children in this situation. A lot of our best workers are down and out and costing a lot of money because they're being victimized for being down and out. Fuck. One thing you might have noticed too is that if you piss me off a day after you do something stupid, well, if you did something stupid, I probably recorded it. Zach Richmond is a prime example of that. He and I spoke, and 2 days later, he wanted to throw a tantrum because I was honest with him about how I felt. It didn't detract from him as a human being in any way, shape, or form, or insinuate that he was some sort of a horrible monster. It was explaining to him that although I gave him the leeway that he asked for, people don't give me that leeway. Holy shit. You'd think that I fucking raped his dog and shoved it inside his mother or something. There's also the situation with Cooper. And of course, he decided to be an asshole a day after I made that recording and wanted to keep it private. For his safety and for mine. But he wanted to fucking get all raggy at me. Fucking dirty dish rag, spreading filth. Like, oh, dude, that's the wrong thing to do. Don't do that. And then, of course, Dallas got a hold of me and wanted to do the same thing. So what did I do? Well, it took me 3 or 4 days altogether to get the recording with Zach up on the internet. But it was pretty close to immediate because even though it took a lot of time to try to get it downloaded, it was still fresh. It was still one of the newer things on my profile. Ew. Is that a spider bite? Take a look at that. Weirdest looking spider I ever seen. Making a hole like that. God, boogers. It's got a very, very specific symmetrical shape to it, though. On top and two on the bottom. I know I got something in here with that shape. I probably slept on it last night. I probably should have combed my hair before going in there. Oh, good. I got a habit of sticking my fingers in my eyes before thinking about what I ate last. And I have an addiction to jalapenos. Jalapenos will make your butt tickle. God, it's fucking hot in this thing. Sometimes I drive with my door partially open. Right now, there's a tear in my... I'll show you what I mean. A tear in my window. And a tear in my window. There's tape all over a bunch of tears in my window. Alright, got disconnected, my apologies. Alright, got disconnected, my apologies. I think I did a pretty good job of holding it together, but I communicated well enough to get her to understand I'm an intelligent person. I do need to go over and review a lot of the stuff that I've been learning recently because I got to make sure that when I'm lied to by these agencies, I need to make sure I'm fucking retard. Joan Hanson in Chapel, Nebraska. So I didn't. Then Sheriff DaCosta and his bullies were able to prevent me from going to court, prevent me from being safely even in Chapel, Nebraska. There's victims of human trafficking like Mandy fucking Singer and Rebecca Grossnickel Foley. So next on the agenda, we should probably go to all right. God, I'm a horrible driver. There's a lot of people that seem to think that if I get them into court, that I'm just going to slander their name the way the cops did. Whereas I repeat the slander from the cops. A lot of people are mad at me because I did repeat the slander from the cops. You slandered my name! No, I just repeated what I heard. Since I heard it directly from police, am I supposed to just believe it? Since the police wrote it down on a piece of paper, does that make it true? Now here's the thing, is if I get my former friends into court, I'm not interested in the slander towards them. What I'm interested in is the truth from them. For them to say the things that they went through, the things that they did. And how without a mandatory reporter doing their job and getting a hold of them, how scary a situation it became. I never should have had to post publicly. As you probably well noticed, I am a giant goddamn douchebag. I'm going to be out of gas by the end of the month. I have not been able to take a day for me to do something fun for me other than a little bit of time to fuck with that boat. So I might put another couple of totes around it, take it out on the water today. But first, ding, 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 ding. What's the computer say? Ding, 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 ding. Ah, shit. Fuck. Oh, there it is. Ah, fucking hurts.
Right, that's perfect, yes, absolutely. That's actually perfect. So let me get you connected to FaceTime. Thank you so much for calling today. We really appreciate you taking the time. Help a lot. Okay, great, thank you. How can I help you, sir?
Here, let me pull out the card so I make sure I quote myself. I didn't bring it in. No, that's from James Harrell. That's from Daryl Spitzer. Anyway, I was sent to Joy. They're gonna send over Nebraska Health and Human Services is gonna send over a release of information to you guys to work with Joy to get some mandated reporter stuff done.
Okay, wonderful. Joy is not here today. She's out. She will be back on Monday. Once we receive that information, I will make sure that Joy gets it, and I will make sure to hand it off to her. Once she receives it, then she'll be in contact with you. Are they faxing it?
Is Red Flag use the bathroom? I believe they should right now. They're having problems with their copy machine. I'm not sure if it's a copy fax, so.
I understand that, absolutely. So yeah, if they email it, they'll email it directly to Joy. If they fax it, then I will receive it. Once Joy gets here Monday morning, I'll make sure that she receives it as well. I love your shirt. I want one of those.
I
That's a fantastic
I can come in next time with the information to get one. It's a Christian band, actually. They're called Happily Ever After, and you can find them on the internet.
Very cool.
If you tell them that you want this kind of shirt, they stop producing it, but if you tell them that you want one, they'll make a special order and send you one.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Our bathroom is right around the corner to the right side.
All right, yeah, they had one the new one that they have, instead of an H, it's a D that's got the H stamped over the top of it, which a lot of people like more, but I prefer this one because
I
it's
love it. That's beautiful.
my style. Thank you, ma'am.
Great shirt. Thank you very much for coming in. I'll make sure things get taken care of for you here.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Sweet fashion meeting. Was ist das? Das ist meine Kaffee, bitte. Somebody in here, I'll be out in just a minute. There's a girl that I was informed of that might be human trafficked by Ted Bollinger from Colorado to Texas. And the situation does need to be taken seriously, and it hasn't been. That's over a year old now. And the way that I was treated by law enforcement, instead of them coordinating to assist the disabled person in turning this in, well, they basically, as always, pawn me off on others. Now, the different agencies that I've been sent to as mandated reporters haven't done that. They've done the whole Medicare and Medicaid fraud thing, which it's a good thing that I was able to do that, because now I have evidence of Medicare and Medicaid fraud by these organizations. And also, since the Health and Human Services are working with me now, they're actually going to make sure that those laws are followed, instead of people sending me from one agency to another and asking for my Medicaid and Medicare card. They shouldn't ask for that. When it comes to mandated reporters, it's got nothing to do with Medicaid or Medicare, unless it has to do with people stealing my money, which it does, but that's not what they're asking for. They're asking so that they can bill me. Billing me for being mandated reporters, that's not acceptable. The fact that I let them all know that I was being sent to them because they're mandated reporters, and that still wasn't enough. What did they do? Talk over me. Uptown girl, we've been living in an uptown world. Alright, and then now to the newspaper to inform them. Plug this in and we'll say about our little journey into the land of yonder. In the land of Tin and we three kings be still and go. We be holly, we be jolly, Lincoln blinking and odd. I love medleys. Well, don't you know that's the sound of men working on the chain gang? Well, don't you know that's the sound of the men working on the chain gang? Now let me hear you say, ah, ooh, ah, 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 ah. Wait. Bonjour.
Hello.
Hello. I was just gonna say, I ran around the last 3 days going to all the different services that I was told to go to, and then I went to the Health and Human Services this morning, and because I was sent to TCHC and TFCC as mandated reporters, and instead of doing their jobs as mandated reporters, they set me up for appointments and took my Medicaid card so that they could bill me. They're not allowed to do that. I was sent to them as mandated reporters, not as therapists. So Health and Human Services is getting involved, and those two places are going to be in trouble for Medicare and Medicaid fraud.
Good. They
Yeah.
should be, yeah.
So I figured I'd come down here and let you know since I was on my way over to Safeway in the library.
Okay.
And I wanted to know, I lost the card that I did have.
For Will?
Yeah, but I wanted to be able to, if I could, forward anything with them to you guys. That way,
Yes, forward it to, I'll write his email on the back. He changed emails. So,
smart man. No. I was thinking about the stamp that you have over in the corner next to that machine there. It doesn't say Tillamook, it says Scotts Bluff, which is the town I was born in. So I was thinking about changing that stamp over to be my profile picture.
yeah, do it.
Even Tillamook knows about Hickville, Nebraska. You know what I noticed though? In the entire town of Tillamook, I have not seen a single gallon of Tillamook milk.
Do they make milk?
Well, yeah, well, they produce milk,
Yeah.
but I think they just make stuff out of milk.
Yeah, I never really thought about that with the creamery. Huh, yeah, 'cause they have ice cream and cheese, I know that, but no, I've never seen a gallon of Tillamook milk in my life.
Oh, also, they're having me talk to a lady named Joy Auska from CARE.
Okay,
And since the lady from Health and Human Services is involved, she's going to make sure that they do their jobs as mandated reporters.
good.
So, thank you very much.
Do you need this card at all? Keep it.
I suppose I do
Yeah.
need to keep it since it's got her name on it, but
Yeah.
I was just letting y'all know I did run around all those places, and I also recorded the DA's office and the Victims Assistance Office and the District Court office, as well as a sheriff's deputy and 2 police officers yesterday, all giving me, oh, and also the state troopers, all giving me different renditions of the law. And I went to Tillamook, or to the Health and Human Services and explained to them what was going on. She explained to me that it's illegal, and I got that recorded too. So,
Good. You're doing your duty as a.
right, some friggin' filthy, nasty
citizen.
hobo got to try it.
Oh gosh, don't say that about yourself.
Oh, I have to sleep with myself. I know what I smell like in the morning, and my hair is beautiful. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Now, one of the biggest, nastiest tricks pulled in all of it was sending me to Monica Tides of Change. That woman should have never had to deal with any of this. I really do truly feel bad for her. I also feel bad for the people that I was insistent that her name was Tamara. No, Tamara was the lady in Hood River. But, of course, when you've dealt with this many people, it's difficult to keep them all straight. Not Not claiming that they're all gay or that I'm trying to force them to be straight. Just it's a lot to remember for those of you who want to reinterpret all my words. Alright, let's get started. I gotta try to keep myself safe for a week. Is that possible with police likely to retaliate? That depends on how motivated they are. Oh yes, requires tickets. Alright. All of these mandated reporters wanted to send me to other mandated reporters and make it someone else's job. Now, I do like Danelle, and as far as them not doing their jobs as mandated reporters, it is just a slap on the wrist here in this state. There's no actual jail time unless you don't pay your fine. Nearly all of the homeless people here, when they've tried to turn in the crimes against them, and a lot of these people are disabled, the cops are giving them the same treatment as me, and so are these services. So I guess 2 hours and 39 minutes long. We probably ought to end the video. Wish me fucking luck. So you know how we end these videos? Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and your sister's too, and no victim left behind. Oh, come on now.